Scott Reeves. Welcome to another episode of Whiskers and Whitetails. Well, it's the day after Thanksgiving. Hope y'all all had a great Thanksgiving. I know I did. I ate way too much. But today, it's overcast, 80% chance of rain, so I thought I'd get up underneath the carport here, start doing some European mounts. I'm not real good at it, but I do good enough to hang them in my house. This is an old deer I shot probably 3-4 years ago. Been hanging in a tree. I've already cleaned it up quite a bit, got it prepped to boil. There's nothing special about this deer, so if I mess it up, so be it. But if you want to do this, the only advice I can give you, it's an all-day sucker. There's not a miracle pill that just pops this thing out, in mint condition. It's takes a lot of work and stinks. This smells like the devil's butthole. Excuse my language, but that's exactly what it smells like. And you got to be willing to work it. It took me about 45 minutes to get the rest of the hide off. I had it soaking in water for 24 hours, kind of loosen things up a little bit. If it was up to me, and I had a few more extra days off, I'd probably let it soak for 3 or 4 days. But as you can see, I'm missing one there, and one here. I'm going to try my luck at rebuilding tines. The G2, G3s broke off on this side, and G2s broke off on this one. So we're going to see how it goes. I'll show this to you throughout the day. But like I said, if you're going to do this, it's going to take some hours. So you got to want to do it. It's fun. I'm out here by myself. Got me a hot cup of coffee. I'm ready to go. So I'll show you my pot. Fixing to start my fire. And we'll get things rolling. Y'all hang in there. This is my little setup. I guess that's probably a 10 or 15 gallon pot I bought at the local hardware store a couple of years ago. Stacked bricks up 2 high. Figured 3 high would be too much, so got me some dry wood here to get it started, and I'll throw some bigger wood on there later. But I put my deer head in there, and I put just enough water that I'm about a 1/2 inch over the top of the skull. So this is the way I do it. Let's get a fire started. Here's a few things you really need. A sharp knife is going to get rid of a lot of headaches. I got this buck knife here from one of my best friends. I'd like to give a shout out to Mayo and Robert Bear. Great people. They gave me this knife about 4 years ago for Christmas, and it has been a lifesaver. I mean, it holds an edge really good. I've skinned many a deer with it, and nothing flat. I mean, split them right open. So I definitely recommend you having a sharp knife when you're doing a European mount. It'll save you a lot of headaches. But as you can see, I've got my fire going. Water's already smoking. Got this pile of kindling, just old scrap I'm gonna use. And over here on these sawhorses, I've got some picket fence that I'm gonna use. Just throw in there, keep the fire hot and going. As you can see, I just put the level of the water about 3/4 of an inch over the top of the skull. There's no sense in heating a bunch of water up that you're not using. Less water means boils faster. And it's cooking right along. As you can see, the water's slowly starting to make bubbles. I'm about 45 minutes into this fire going. And keep in mind that this water was probably, I don't know, somewhere around 55, 60 degrees. So to get it to a boiling point takes quite a while. And keep stoking the fire. Water's starting to steam. We're just a few minutes away from boiling. Well, I'm an hour into it now. As you can tell, it's boiling pretty good right now. But I promise you, I promise you, this does not smell like your mama's stew. I guess you realize I'm by myself out here. Nobody wants to be around me for that reason. So from this point forward, we'll keep the water boiling. We got another 3 hours of this. It's been about 20 minutes since the last time I showed you anything. As you can tell, I've raised my pot up 1 brick, approximately about 2.5, 3 inches. So I get more wood up underneath there, which is paid off. So now we got a roaring boil going on. With the water boiling better, it could possibly knock off 30, 45 minutes of the process. But like I said, it's an all-day sucker, and you just got to stick with it. But when you're done, it's hanging on the wall. It'll all be worthwhile. Y'all hang in there. Well, the buzzards are starting to circle. So I ought to tell you how bad this stinks. I just went inside the house, get me a tall glass of water, and got thrown out of the house. The wife said, "Do not get near me and do not touch anything." I'm serious when I tell you this stinks. One of the things I want to mention is the trick to using less water is to remove the bottom jaw. You lose about 3.5 inches, which means you have to use less water. Less water means boiling faster and a shorter period of time. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. We've completed 3 hours of boiling. Let's take a look at what we got. A lot of meat's come off there. You're gonna have to pick at it. And if that nose piece right there falls off, don't panic. This one looks like it may come off. Just pick your nose piece, that piece of bone up, hold on to it, get it all nice and clean. Little super glue, it'll go right back on there. Nobody will ever know it but you. You keep that fire going. Well, my water was boiling so hot, I lost a lot of water, so I had to add some more water. Again, about 3/4 of an inch over the top of the skull. I had about a 1/2 inch of skull out of water, so I'm just shy of the 4-hour mark, so we're getting close to being done with this. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to take a metal clothes hanger. I'm going to cut it about right there. And about right here. This is what I've got right here. Take me a pair of needle nose pliers. And I'm going to bend the end over. It's going to look something like that right there. That way, I can reach in that skull into the brain cavity area, and I can hook that brain, and I can drag this out in pieces till I get it all out. Just a little tool that I use. It makes things a lot easier. Well, it's plenty hot. Before you start holding it with your bare hands, you need to let it cool off. I let it boil a total of about 4 hours and 30 minutes. But everything turned out the way I wanted it to. This little nose piece, it stayed on. Both of them. Those are the ones I was telling you about. Probably having to glue them back on. I've had to do it before. But all in all, it turned out really well. Doesn't look like I'm going to have to do that much cleaning on it. I'm not going to show you that part. It's pretty nasty. Don't want to gross anybody out. But that's what it looks like after you boil 4.5 hours. That's what you want. About 90% of all the meat underneath came off. I got to pick a little bit here and there. But that hole you see right there, that's the entrance and the exit to the brain cavity. And that's what I'm going to have to dig in and get the brain out. But once I'm all finished, I'll show it to you. And the next step will be whitening the skull. I'm going to go ahead and drop my next deer head in. I figure I might as well do this. Get it all done. Well, I finished cleaning my deer skull, and for the most part, I think everything was just fine. All the nasal cavities tore out. Always knock a hole in the roof of the mouth. It's not seen anyway when it's on the wall. So anything you can do to make life easier on you, go ahead. Got all the meat from around the teeth. Got it picked out. I plucked the earbuds out. You just stick a screwdriver in there. They'll pop right out, and it gives you a little more access to the brain cavity. I got in there, got everything out, got it cleaned up. And as you notice, my nose pieces, they came off. Just like I said they probably would. There they are. So, just take one, put some super glue on it, and it'll go right back in place. Nobody will know it but you. Do the other one to the other side, they match perfectly. So I got them both right there. They're both cleaned up. I'm gonna whiten this skull some. I think I'm gonna try the hair color. There's several different ways you can do it. Everybody's got their own way. I've even seen people spray paint these with Kilz stain remover. It's an off-white color. It looks pretty natural for the most part, but I'm very happy with it. So well, I just got finished. I spent a whole weekend boiling heads. But the one that I was doing for you, this is the finished product. I still need to widen the skull, but it's been fleshed out, all the meat's out of it. And if you'll recall, I was missing the G2, G3 on this side, and the G2 on this one. I tried my luck at replacing the tines. I saw a guy on YouTube doing it. Using epoxy by J.B. Weld called Quickwood. I highly recommend it if you're gonna try to replace your tines that are broke off. You get it down the paint aisle. It's about $6-7 a tube. Use about, I don't know, you just cut off 2 inches, 3 inches of it. Knead it real good. My advice to you is keep your fingers wet. It'll stick to you. It's kind of like playing with a raw biscuit. It just keeps sticking to your fingers. But really happy with this one. Like I said, I did 3 of them this weekend, and I'm really pleased with it. But hope you got something out of it. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe. And that's going to do it. Thank you for watching Whiskers and Whitetails.